out of the city. Now they are calling on city council and the police to address their concerns. Brian Steepleton has called the east side of Pueblo home since 1960.
Thinking back, this neighborhood was a great neighborhood.
But Steepleton says crime,
the worst that it's ever been,
is changing the place he loves.
Back in the day, you could go out and there would be kids playing all over, and now you go up the street, you don't see a soul.
Steepleton and his neighbor Brian Bailey say they have seen people break car windows and even steal cars.
You think about, honestly, where you put your cars now.
Bailey parks his car in the gated backyard.
And there's a hole in the one car from a bullet. Don't know where it came from or what. Again, it was parked on the street and we noticed it.
Reached out to Pueblo police. Over the phone, a police spokesperson says patrol units are assigned to Pueblo neighborhoods and they are aware of the increase in crime in town.
Hello, friends and family of the internet. So I read your questions and your concerns, and I want to address all of them. From the video I made earlier about it is all connected. So several of you brought it to my attention that El Chapo is actually being held in Colorado. Mind-blowing. I knew that, but like most of you guys, I only have so much space in my head, right? So I started digging around. You guys know I love to dig for that bone, right? El Chapo has actually broken out of jail not once, but twice. He is now being held in a small town not too far from Pueblo, Colorado. Now, if you watched my video earlier, I kept bringing up how everything seems to be going to Pueblo. Both instances where the people with the bullets, so you had one illegal alien that had been deported not once but twice, carrying 18,000 rounds in citizens that flew into the United States to buy a vehicle and ended up with over 180,000 rounds of ammunition. Both of those vehicles were headed to the same town, Pueblo, Colorado. Now, what I'm hearing through the grapevine is that Pueblo has now become the center of the illegal gang movement. It is where their drugs, their guns, their human trafficking, all of that is going through this very small town in Colorado that's about 100 miles south of Colorado Springs. Now, here is my concern. 1 out of every 68 people in Pueblo, Colorado will be victims of violent crimes. 1 out of 68, folks. This is serious, right? Like, really bad. But then when you put into the fact that all of these Army Reserves, National Guard units are being robbed. So I found something. Now, this is from 92, but this goes to show you guys that it's not uncommon for our bases in our Army Reserve areas, our National Guard areas to be robbed. Utah had over $2 million of equipment stolen by National Guardsmen and resold, and they were busted. Now, that was in 1992. So a lot of you were asking me, well, have the Humvees been found from the California fires in January of 2025? The answer is yes and no. The 2 soft-sided Humvees have been located. The armored SUV Humvee has never been found. It is not the only National Guard area that has been stolen. So numerous have been hit across this country in the last several years. Folks, this is all very concerning. Okay, so this is what I honestly think is happening. I think that we have an army of illegal aliens using Pueblo, Colorado as their meeting spot. From there, they're spreading out. I think that they're involved in a lot of the National Guard Reserve units that are being hit and stolen from. I think that they're the ones connecting into the Mexican gangs. And in the end, honest to God, I think they're going to try to break El Chapo out of prison. It just makes sense. When you start putting it all together, It makes so much sense. You either see it or you don't. You're either open-eyed and aware of what's going on in our country, or you can just go back to sleep, friend. It is completely up to you. But if you know how bad it was under Biden, giving, and this is in one 6-month period, 550,000 illegal aliens green cards to work in this country. That's in a 6-month period. Then when Mayorkas got in trouble, they found that in a 6-month period, he brought in a total of 1.6 million non-eligible aliens into this country through airline flights. In other words, they couldn't get in. They could not ask for any kind of help because, well, they probably all had criminal records. But he brought in 1.6 million. So right there is 2 million. So when you hear the left saying, oh, it's just a couple of million that crossed the border. No. You can go lie to somebody else. Y'all flooded us. And now we have a serious problem. So at this point, I looked at some of the stuff Trump did in his first administration, stopping people who were illegal aliens from becoming citizens just because they were in the military. He pretty much pulled a halt to that. But it started being stopped under Obama's administration. So I don't want to hear anything from the left. Everything got turned completely around when Joe Biden and his puppet Kamala Harris got in. They removed every stop that President Trump had put in. They basically deported zero amount of people from this country. And they flooded us with close to 30 million illegal aliens. Those are the facts. Now, when you put it all together, you realize our country's in a very precarious position. My advice to you, please start watching my videos on how to grow your own food. Y'all know that I could have bought a used car for what I spent to train my dogs in home protection, self-protection. Okay? Not only will they protect my property, they will physically die protecting me. I don't care if you like that or not. That's what I did. Y'all know I'm a big push for a Second Amendment right. Get one, use the right, learn how to do it, become comfortable with it so that you don't accidentally hurt somebody. Those are some things that you can do to protect yourself, even on a small budget. If you can't afford to train your dogs to home protection, self-protection, at least get a dog that is of the breed that is natural to protecting, like a German Shepherd. A lot of times they don't need but just a little bit of training, and those dogs will protect because it's built into their DNA, okay? Guys, that's just the truth. You need to get food, you need to get prepared, you need to know where to go in case there's a problem. Because I heard a gentleman say the other day, he came over to a thing I was doing on the property, and it was just really cool. They're from Arkansas. I got to speak to his wife on the phone. But what he said made so much sense. When there's trouble, the cities bleed over into the countries. You're going to get people you've never seen before when things go down. You need to be prepared. Trust no one at this point. If you don't not known these people your whole life, don't trust them. You don't know who they are, because remember, we have seen over and over and over again all these Chinese illegals on our bases taking photographs of U.S. military installations under Biden, and I don't know if anything ever happened to those people. So when you think about that, think about the robberies, think about El Chapo sitting in the middle of all this, you have to wonder, is he calling the shots from his jail cell? Folks, we need you to row in our boat. They demonetized me for speaking truth, and the fact is that I'm going to fight them in May. But chances are, for me to continue doing videos like this, they're never going to monetize me again. So I have to make a choice. Either you guys can help me be able to pay my small few bills that I have because I'm debt free, or I have to trim back how I talk about things and what I talk about and just be another boring YouTube channel. So you guys make that decision. No pressure from me. I have to do what I have to do to survive. Love you guys. Be blessed. Like, comment, subscribe.